If you could have any two fictional characters meet that haven't met before, who would you choose? Some of our comic book authors have made their decisions, and we'll be talking about those kinds of books and other sorts of crossover books and comic books today, and comic book catch up. It's me, Andy Walsh, here to chat with you about comics with TJ. How are you doing, TJ?
I'm great. Thank you for asking.
All right. Happy to have everybody here. Greetings to all of our many live viewers and to all of our future viewers watching this stream from the future. Hope you're well. Hope you're excited to talk about comic books. Let us know as we're going along. If you have something that you want to chime in, somewhere you're watching from that you want us to shout you out. And yeah, we'll be happy to include you in the conversation. In the meantime, feel free to like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. We have increasingly elaborate rewards from Will Rose for any video that reaches 50 likes on one specific video. We haven't hit that threshold yet as far as I know, so he is continuing to offer something silly like frolicking in a field of flowers, although that's not terribly seasonal. It might be a very snowy field at this time of year if we get to 50 likes. Or yeah. I was hoping for the tour of his man cave, his shelf of comic book delights. So hopefully maybe we'll talk him into that one. Did you have a favorite Will reward that you're hoping for?
Probably just to see him frolicking, because I've been to Will's house, and Will's house is awesome. But I don't need I don't need to see him walk me through it again.
Well, now I'm jealous.
It's really cool.
Very good. Well, then we will hope for some frolicking. And a big thank you to all the folks who sponsor us, who support us financially. Our YouTube exclusives like this one are only possible because of the generous support of folks like you. So again, thank you very much. And if you want to be one of those cool people so that you can feel thanked in a future episode, please check out the link in the show's description where you can find a link to the website where you can become a sponsor, where you can become an official member. You can join the official members channel on Discord. You can have the satisfaction of knowing that when we say thank you, that you are one of those people being thanked. And you can continue to see great content like this episode that you're watching right now. Hopefully this one will be a good one. There'll be more good ones to come. So yeah, with that business out of the way, I think it is ready. It is time to get into the lightning round.
All right.
Are we ready to see what good comics have struck in recent weeks?
Oh yeah. So for me, personally, I've been absorbed away from the comic world largely over the past couple of weeks. So what we're seeing right now is pretty much what I'm interested in. Batman, Deadpool, the DC KO event, Absolute Batman, and the other Absolutes are okay. I think, Absolute Batman's different. But Absolute Martian Manhunter is the one I keep, holding out for. I want more of that.
Awesome. Well, we've got a pretty DC and Batman heavy lineup, but I'm also enjoying the Matt Fraction regular plain old Batman series as it's going along. New issue came out just yesterday, and that was another good slice of Batman adventure. And since I'm me, I will mention that the aforementioned Will and I are hoping one day soon to do a X-Men Age of Revelation recap, going through that enormous sprawling event. But I'll shout that out in the lightning round. We are in the final month now. Yesterday was the first batch of the final of the 3 months of the various miniseries. 16 different miniseries. Spoiler for that recap, way too many. Did not need to have that many comic books coming out.
It's like Civil War all over again.
Yeah, I mean, it's over 50 issues of comics for this event. I get the notion that they're trying to harken back to the Age of Apocalypse, which is having an anniversary year this year, and it is always fun to give some room to breathe to a different kind of alternate timeline, alternate future, alternate universe sort of thing. But yeah, did not need 48 miniseries issues plus all the ones, the shots, and so forth. But there is some good stuff in there. As a update of Jed McKay. You know, it's the next storyline in Jed McKay's X-Men book. Perfectly cromulent, but yeah, not a little bit overstuffed. Just like the Thanksgiving turkey, perhaps, that some of you may have enjoyed in recent days. So yeah, I think that's it for me for the lightning round. Why don't we get into our main selections? And since I've been monologuing a lot, why don't we start with your pick of Absolute Batman?
Yeah, spoiler warning, if you're not caught up, I love Absolute Batman. I'm perfectly capable of setting aside my pride and enjoying some good slop every once in a while. Uh, as many people have come to think of Absolute Batman, that's not what Absolute Batman is. There is, perhaps gratuitous violence. But it's awesome, you know? That's what I really have to say. It's awesome. Just taking Batman and all of his rogues and cranking them up to 11. It's so cool. And issue 14 just came out, and it's great. It gives us a little bit more insight into that in-between time of Batman, preparing to go take down Bane, and like what the rest of the crew was up to before they got and turned into their respective villains. We get some backstory. We get some, I guess it is backstory, but we get filled in on Waylon Jones's like boxing career, how that kind of went south for him, and what made him a target. But even like the very realistic UFC portion of this comic is just really well done. The art in this is astounding. Even when they're just doing piles of flesh, the piles of flesh look really good. Seeing Absolute Bane, that's really all you can call him, is Absolute Bane. And this issue just keeps getting bigger. And up to this point, we were all under the impression that Batman was going to venom up and fight Bane on even terms. But of course, he's still Bruce Wayne, so he had Edward Nygma, siphon all of the venom out of him and did it his way, which includes, but is not limited to, Killer Croc helping out, Catwoman helping out, gouging out Bane's eyes with his ear knives. It's so cool. Having Alfred be like heavily involved as the super skilled mercenary, I think is going really well for me personally. Having him kind of narrate this from his perspective, I'm enjoying it a lot, and I don't think I'm going to stop enjoying it. Honestly.
No one's asking you to.
Yeah. And you better not. I'm going to consume this for as long as it lasts. Because it's not going to be that long. But yeah, this final confrontation with Bane is so good. It's so well done. Over a relatively short series, they've built up quite an impressive terroir, if you will, if you're a wine drinker. I'm a huge fan, and I can't wait for more.
Excellent. I will admit, I have fallen off of Absolute Batman a little bit, just in terms of keeping up with the monthly issues. I enjoyed what I've read. It is still the absolute book that I have enjoyed the most, but I think I'll probably be keeping up with it in a different format other than the monthly installments.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you read Absolute Martian Manhunter?
I read the first issue of Absolute Martian Manhunter, and I kind of bounced off of it. So I might need to give that another try.
That's understandable, though.
Once there's a little bit more. But it just, yeah, I'd like to hear a little bit more about what other folks maybe found worthwhile about it, so that maybe I can dig into a bigger chunk of it, like the first trade or something like that.
Might do an episode about it, because I think it's phenomenal. I think as a comic run, it'll stand the test of time a lot better than Absolute Batman.
I can believe that. It did seem like it was a bit more ambitious and creative in what it was trying to do. It took me, and so that it took me a little bit to orient to what that is, and so I think I think I would need to come back to it sort of more prepared for what it was trying to do, and really being willing to give it the time and attention
Yeah,
that it's looking for.
easily the farthest departure for one of the Absolute series.
Yeah, yeah. So there wasn't anything necessarily wrong with it. It was just kind of like I don't have the time to really
Yeah,
wrap my head around this right now. So
you
I'll
have
need
to
to
like
come back later.
reformat to read this.
Yeah, something like that. Shapeshift maybe even.
Right. Maybe you could see its emotions.
Maybe.
That's a good thing. But yeah, that's how I'm feeling about Absolute Batman.
Do you have if you had to give it a rating of some flavor?
To me personally, recency bias aside, 9. Yeah.
Out of
Comic books are for big fights. You know.
Excellent.
the build up is there for me. The payoff is there. I love it.
Great. Are we ready to move on to what
yeah.
have you got next up in the deck for us?
Well, I was going to give you the chance to talk about one of yours, if you want to talk
Okay.
about Day of Blood or
we're
Deadpool.
we're in Batman world. Why don't we stick with Batman for the moment? All right.
right.
So this is Batman Deadpool #1. The main story is by Grant Morrison and Dan Mora. This is part of the ongoing, and I'm a little bit confused as to the full extent of what we have to look forward to still. But but this the current DC Marvel crossover event that's going on. So we had a Deadpool Batman issue put out by Marvel a couple months ago, and that was a lot of fun. So there was a main story of a Batman Deadpool team up, and then a bunch of shorter stories of other different characters meeting or mashups of characters in different places. And so this is a second installment put out by DC, nominally with, again, a Batman Deadpool main event and some additional stories. And then there were also, there was a Marvel Unlimited Infinite comic with Thor and Captain Marvel. And there was a DC one, and I'm forgetting who was in that. But they very kindly sent me a month free trial to the DC Universe or whatever the DC all-you-can-eat comic subscription model is.
I think it's it. Oh, I don't know.
But yeah, whatever that service is. So I have to. I'm thinking as I get closer to Christmas and I might have a little bit more time to try out some of the other things. I might dig into that and sample the story that was exclusive to that platform as well. But yeah, so this is just a lot of, in the same kind of vein, this is big, dumb, silly comics doing big, dumb, silly comic things. This is not aiming for anything heavy thematically, right? This is about the joys of seeing characters who wouldn't otherwise get together, interacting and sparking off each other. And I thought that the main story did an excellent job of that. Some of the other stories I was a little bit underwhelmed by. They're kind of doing the thing of, well, Doctor Strange and John Constantine are kind of the same character in different universes. So let's have them monologue at each other about what they have in common and what is different about them. And the Thor Captain Marvel thing, I should say, I'm saying Captain Marvel. I should probably say Shazam. I think that's the proper name of the character
The
now.
current
Yeah,
name.
yeah, that guy, Billy Batson, not Carol Danvers, not anybody else who's gone by the name, but Billy Batson and Thor, a little bit more substantive than that, but again, kind of the same, like compare and contrast, sort of that high school essay format of compare and contrast Thor and Shazam.
Some of them are definitely harder to write than others. I
Sure.
I think Batman and Deadpool it should have been very difficult. But just having them bounce off of each other, I think works really well. So
yeah, and it works well that they are not exactly the same kind of character. But they're also like, it's not like a chocolate peanut butter kind of thing. It's like, it's one of those, I'm not sure why these should go together, how they could go together. What I especially loved was the page where, so everybody who meets Deadpool always complains about how wordy he is, how quippy he is, that he's just kind of a lot, right? He's sort of just always going at a million miles an hour, and almost everybody who teams up with him, interacts with him, kind of gives him the like, oh geez, here we go again attitude. You know, that's the Wolverine Deadpool dynamic, right? The for sure. There's a great bit in Gwenpool where Gwenpool finally meets Deadpool, and she's a little bit, yeah, Deadpool's the one comic book I never read. He's a little bit too lol memes, which was fantastic. But Batman, has a, you'd think that Batman would get another one of those just very world weary. Oh boy, this guy. But instead we get the, look, I've had multiple teenage sidekicks who could never stop talking. My arch nemesis is a demented clown. I've barely noticed the fact that you're still talking.
Yeah. So like I've been through it all.
Yeah.
You know, we get like the weary dad version of Batman.
Right. Like, you are going to have to try a whole lot harder than this to get a rise out of me, young man.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it's really good.
Yeah. I don't want to say too much about where it goes. I guess you can see on here we do get some other Grant Morrison characters like Cassandra Nova, and some others who will remain unspoiled here. But yeah, it's a lot of just, it's, if you wanted to criticize it, it's a little bit of the what they talk about, the manatee jokes on Family Guy, right? It just, here's the thing, isn't it funny that we both know this obscure thing? But sometimes that's what you want, and it's put together in a clever way. It's and a lot of it is just kind of in the background for you to notice or not notice. It's not calling attention to itself. They don't kind of turn to the camera and, hey, did you see what we just remembered to reference from World's Finest number 26 from whatever. It just kind of, it's there. If you know it, you know it. If you don't, you can just keep watching Batman and Deadpool banter at each other and be entertaining.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had a,
there's a lot of good ideas in this comic, because I need to finish it. I read like half of it because I realized how quickly 7:30 was approaching. But I need to finish because I'm enjoying it so far. Half the book.
well, good. Yeah. It's a lot of fun. It's it's definitely, I think, has more appeal to people who are a bit steeped in these kinds of things and these characters, right? This is not, I would not recommend this as your first Batman and or Deadpool comic, especially not your first Batman comic. I don't think you want Deadpool in your first Batman comic. It might be all right as a first Deadpool comic because this is kind of what Deadpool is.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd recommend anything we're talking about as your first Batman comic.
Fair.
That might be kind of a hard question, actually. Harder than most characters.
Yeah. Perhaps a topic for another time.
The topic for someone who reads more Batman.
That too. But yeah, do you remember what else? Is there more coming? I forget exactly what else we can expect from this.
The roadmap, I have no clue.
The DC Marvel, yeah.
I have no clue. I just let them do whatever, and I try not to get super excited for anything, because then when I find out about it, it's really exciting.
Excellent. Very, very zen, perhaps, of you.
It's really cool. But it also means I miss stuff sometimes. And then a couple of years later, I'll find out about it.
Well, that's maybe a good foreshadowing of my second pick, but we can get to your second pick first. I will finish this up with saying, I'd probably put it at, I had a 5 out of 5 fun time reading it. It's maybe like a 3 out of 5 quality, right? It's not going to be anybody's 10 most innovative comics of all time, or the one comic on your list of 10 comics you have to read before you die, or anything like that. But if it's been a long time coming for a Marvel DC crossover, and I think they've lived up to the hype of what people would want out of that kind of that particular brand of shenanigan.
Yeah, and also like having them talk about Deathstroke and making it clear that it's not what we're doing.
Right, Wade Wilson, not Slade Wilson. Who is this Slade Wilson?
That's
yeah,
good.
that was good. That was a nice gag.
But yeah, for me, my second pick, if I put these in order, I didn't. I didn't. Wait, did I? Nope. I'm very smart. It's slide 5. Cool. So, DCKO is their current event that they're just... I don't know why they're doing it. I don't know. I didn't even find out about this until earlier today when I was talking to Will. And I was like, yeah, that sounds awesome. I'm going to read those now. And so I did. But it is for younger listeners, if you've watched Death Battle, DC just kind of was like, I want to get in on that. So they're having, in universe, this big tournament to decide who gets the, like, oh, what is the exact phrase? The power to defeat Darkseid, the Omega something. Omega power. They might have just called it Omega power. But they are just pitting all of these heroes and villains against each other to see who gets the power to defeat Darkseid. Super awesome. More like, hey, just let's watch some fighting. The one they just came out with is Superman versus Captain Atom. So cool. It's fun to watch. You know, like, you've had the conversation before. We've all had these conversations before. Who would win in a fight? You know, my dad or your dad, Superman or Captain Atom. And it's so fun to just get to read it and see what these artists think. And they went like all in on the, like, hey, this is fan service. They do it in rounds, like to the death rounds. They regenerate in between rounds, and they choose their forms in between rounds. So we have Captain Atom, and he's like, you know what? I know what to pick. I'm going to be Monarch for the next round. And Superman's like, I'm going to be Superman Prime. That's what I'm going to do. It's so fun. It's turn your brain off. Watch this. We're going to reference some cool old forms of all of these heroes, and you're going to enjoy it. But it's not, you know, they're not, there's effort involved. Like, they're really trying. Because they're not, obviously, they have someone they want to win. You know, it's still a comic book. That's going to happen. But watching Captain Atom, you're like, you know what? I'm going to turn one of my hands into a red sun, and I'm going to turn the other one into green kryptonite. And I'm just going to beat Superman up. Stuff like that, it's a ton of fun. It's a ton of fun, and I cannot wait to read the rest of it. Because the next issue, because they are doing that thing where it like dips into other series. It's going to be an Aquaman 12. I don't know who the artist is on that Aquaman run right now, or the writer. But the next DCKO, issue is Wonder Woman versus Lobo. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there.
Yeah, I'm going to guess very little guff will be taken.
Yeah. Oh yeah. None. And I'm sure she'll have the invisible jet, and they'll probably race for a second.
Sure.
I'm excited. I'm excited to see what that's going to be about, because I never would have thought about that. It's like, yeah, what if Wonder Woman and Lobo? Sure, man. That's like a 3 a.m, delirious, just unable to sleep thought that I would never have. But it's good. It's good. I'm enjoying it a lot. This is actually the 3rd issue of this. They had 2 like setup issues that, set the whole conflict up, and now we're in the tournament. There was like a round robin thing. Captain Atom killed Supergirl. Yeah, whatever. 7 out of 10.
Awesome. Yeah, I am tangentially aware that this is going on, but I haven't dipped in yet. But certainly, you've given it a glowing recommendation. I've heard some other folks say some positive things about it. That it, like Batman Deadpool, it's better than it needed to be, better than it had to be for the premise. But so it delivers on the silly fun, but also delivers has some clever moments as well.
Yeah, it's really cool. Really cool. And that's what I'm all about, baby. For a comic book, I just need it to be cool. I will say, I don't know if it's one that I would own, if that makes sense.
Uh-huh.
You know, like I might pick this up in the comic book shop, read through it really quick, and feel bad about it.
So it's a guilty pleasure. That
You know,
sounds like almost
not feel bad that I like am reading it, just feel bad that I didn't buy it.
ah.
I just stood there and read it. But maybe when it's over, I might buy. If there's like an omnibus that comes out, I might actually pick that up.
That's fair. There, oh, it's not going to be as good a story because I can't remember the comic book creator, but I've heard him tell the story of being at a convention and having someone stand at his table and read an entire trade, like not just a single issue, but an entire trade of comic, cover to cover, at the table, put it back down and go, yeah, no, not for me, thank you. That is,
You can't
that's
just
bold.
be like, "Hey, man, stop reading," you know?
I think at some point he decided that the entertainment value of seeing if this guy was going to get all the way through, and of course also you don't know that at the end he isn't going to buy it, right?
Yeah.
You know how can you anticipate that somebody would have the chutzpah to
That's
stand
so
there and read
funny.
the entire thing cover to cover and then
And put it down.
nope out?
Oh, that's hilarious. I could never do that. Not to the artist.
Yeah,
You
that's
kidding?
pretty bold.
In front of the
Yeah.
artist? Never. I could
Mhm.
never do that. Oh, I'd feel terrible. But yeah, definitely tap into this.
All right,
When you have that DC Infinite, whatever,
maybe that's whatever it is. Yeah.
check this out.
Yeah, I'll have to also figure out when stuff shows up there because I'm sure it's not like Marvel Unlimited. I'm sure it's not the current books on the shelf. So
Yeah. We'll see. I think it might be. I don't know. I'd have to check.
I'd be surprised because that would kind of really eat the lunch of comic retailers and also DC's own attempts to sell individual issues digitally.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. But hey, tell us about Star Trek, because that's not something I'm familiar with at all. I don't think I've ever read a Star Trek comic book.
You know, I hadn't either until I decided to check out the current launch from IDW, and I am I think a couple years now late in getting into it. So there are two titles, just a plain old Star Trek book, and that is by Jackson Lanzig and Colin Kelly are the writers on that. And then there's a spin-off book called Star Trek Defiant, with that's by Christopher Cantwell, and those two books are crossing over for this event, Day of Blood, with art across both titles by Angel Unzueta and Marissa Louise. And yeah, so this is like 6 issues in. So each title, the Star Trek and Star Trek Defiant, had about 6 issues, and then they had this crossover. And this is the books are set, as far as I can tell, they're set in the continuity of the TV shows and the movies, right? So they are part of the main timeline. I know there's the Kelvin timeline. I don't know if the main timeline has a special name or if it's just the regular timeline, but it's that one. It's more or less after the events of DS9 and Voyager. And one of the things that I really like about it is that they have managed to find, in continuity, based on existing canon, excuses to have characters from nearly all of the shows appearing in these comic books. So you've got Spock and Scotty from the original series. Spock has lived a long time and is an older gentleman, but because of his Vulcan physiology, is able to live that long. Scotty was stuck in, there was a episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation where Scotty was stuck in the pattern buffer of a transporter for like 70 years, and they finally find him and beam him back out. So that's how they justify Scotty showing up in that timeline. And then, of course, Next Generation, Voyager, and Deep Space Nine are all kind of contemporary-ish anyway. So you've got Worf, you've got Cisco, you've got Data, you've got Lore, you've got Lo Ren. You've got Tom Paris from Voyager and B'Elanna Torres from Voyager. And there's even from the Lower Decks cartoon, Lieutenant Shax from that cartoon shows up. He appears in this storyline sort of pre the events of Lower Decks.
Cool.
But yeah, so it just for me personally, it is maybe not every last one, but nearly all of my favorite Star Trek characters kind of mushed together into into one storyline across these two books, and each book has characters from multiple shows and things. So that it's very much just kind of a mashup of these things.
Yeah, I really need. I love the excuses that writers will come up with to have like all these characters meet, because like multiverses made it too easy. Like the multiverse got popular. That's too easy.
Right. Yeah. No. These are all from things from the show's existing canon. Right now, there not a whole lot of work had to be done. I mean, obviously somebody had to go through and figure out who was available and what had been established. But by and large, this is established continuity. This is not having to invent excuses for these people to show up. Now, yes, the reasons that had previously been established are clever in many cases, and that is all to the good. But yeah, they're not straining anything here to put all these folks together. So what's the actual story? So there's kind of two crews, hence the two books. One group is obviously on the Defiant, as suggested by the title of the comic, and one crew is on the Theseus, which is this like experimental, super fancy prototype ship that Scotty has been cobbling together. It had previously been a more plain ship, and Scotty has sort of rebuilt it from the ground up, so to speak. Hence the name, because almost none of the original bits persist. And so yeah, these two crews are off on separate adventures, and they come together for this Day of Blood crossover because the original emperor of the Klingon Empire, I believe I would pronounce it Kales, based on how it's written.
That's enough.
Emperor.
We aren't Klingon speakers here.
Yeah, apologies to all the Klingon native speakers for my poor pronunciation. So that original emperor from the Klingon Empire has been cloned and brought back. I don't believe there's any suggestion that his mind has been restored. It just his DNA has been used to clone a new Klingon, and he has been installed as the emperor of the Klingon Empire once again. That is pre-established story, but he has put together this Red Path cult that is consolidating power around himself with this cult. They have followers not just among other Klingons, but Romulans and even humans and Starfleet and a bunch of different folks. And they have acquired some super weapons, and they are using them to kill all of the godlike entities that have been established in Star Trek. So your crystalline beings, your Qs, your prophets from DS9 that lived in the wormhole, the Bajoran prophets, characters like that. The Klingons are going around and killing them with these super weapons, and now they are trying to take over the Klingon Empire and start a war with the Federation and all these different things. And so these two unlikely motley crews have to work together to thwart Emperor Kales and his schemes and restore order to the galaxy. And yeah, I thought it was like I said, it's a lot of the elements of Star Trek that I like, and very little of the elements of Star Trek that I was less interested in. Kind of all smushed together. Lots of fun characters, lots of fun interactions from characters who hadn't previously had the opportunity to interact, and and also an interesting storyline about gods and faith and fear. So a lot of talk about fear and how that motivates certain things. Why that is a motivator, why that's good, and what's good and bad about that. There's some discussion of the honor culture of the Klingons and the ways that has been linked to violence, and whether that is intrinsic to honor culture or whether there are other ways to understand honor culture that don't have to necessarily be associated with that same level of violence. So there's some, in true Star Trek fashion, there's some real engagement with more serious themes, big ideas. This is not just dumb, silly punching and fighting, although there is certainly some amount of goofy and fun, over the top action as well. Especially there is a one-shot comic starring Shax from Lower Decks. It's called Shax's Best Day, and it is by Ryan North, who has been writing the Lower Decks tie-in comic book series. Folks may know that Ryan North is one of my favorite comic book writers. He's the person that I aspire to be when I grow up one day. And yeah, so he writes this one shot about a side mission that Shax goes on in the middle of this battle. And if you're looking for just some more silly punching, Shax is there to deliver. That is his role in the story, is to just be the unstoppable wrecking crew with one-liners and anti-fascist slogans, and riding on the outside of a spaceship and having the time of his life, as suggested by the title. So you get a dose of silly nonsense along with a dose of heady theological, philosophical musings on what it means to kill your gods, and what it means to have honor in the world, and things like that, and what it means to be a father. There's a lot of father-son stuff with Ben Sisko and Jake Sisko, and with Worf and his son Alexander. There's some brother dynamics between Data and Lore, and then there's all kinds of interesting, new character pairings as well, like I said. So, yeah, I have been enjoying these Star Trek comics. This is about where I've caught up to. I intend to keep going after this crossover. There's at least, I think, 3 more trades from each of those books. I believe they're both still ongoing as well, so I don't know how much, how far we will boldly go with these titles, but yeah, there's some good Star Trek stuff. There is a lore-centered crossover in my future, in the past of the publication history of these books, but in my reading future, that I'm looking forward to. And yeah, so if you like any of those Star Treks in the past, there's almost certainly a character in here that you're familiar with, and perhaps even one of your favorites. And if not, I think you might find something worthwhile too. It is pretty, continuity heavy. So I don't know how well it would work if you were completely unfamiliar with the world of Star Trek, but it might be worth giving a try anyway.
All right, I might have to pick that up. Might have to, because the reason I can't keep up with Star Trek is because I just can't commit to sitting down and watching it.
There is a lot of television to watch if you are into Star Trek. But yeah, this is so far. I mean, like I said, I think they're still ongoing, so who knows how much you will accumulate. But right now, it is a pretty manageable 2 monthly books, and I would recommend starting at the beginning. Even though I was talking about the Day of Blood crossover, I would recommend backtracking. There's only one trade. Like I said, there's only one trade from each title preceding this crossover, so 3 trades in total to get to this point. Not a ton of, not a big ask there, but yeah, it's definitely all interconnected and telling a bigger story. So I think you would be really lost if you started with Day of Blood. I think it might be possible to start with the number ones of each book, even if you're not super into Star Trek, and kind of get your bearings. But yeah, I would not recommend starting with issue 7 of each of the titles, or whatever it is, where the Day of Blood crossover kicks off.
All right.
But yeah, this one I would give a 5 out of 5 unreservedly to this, both as a serious bit of sci-fi and some silly comic book fun.
All right, so definitely worth picking up.
Yeah, so that would definitely be, out of the things we talked about, that would be my recommendation. Do you have something that you would recommend to the fine folks listening wherever they listen?
If we're recommending comic books, I gotta recommend Green Lantern, Brightest Day, Blackest Night. Read both. Great books. I love Green Lantern. Absolute Green Lantern is okay.
All right. Sounds good. Well, then we can wrap up. We will again encourage you, entice you to like and subscribe to our channel. Please do that in the hopes that we can see Will amuse, entertain, or embarrass in some capacity when we get to 50 likes on any video. Hopefully this one. Why not this one? We talked about a lot of good comics.
Yeah, why not this one?
Exactly. And again, thank you so very, very much to everyone who parts with their hard-earned currency to support our show, support exclusives like this one, be official members, which you can do by clicking on the link in the show notes, take you to a website where they will gladly take your money and exchange it for an official membership or for supporting the show so that you can be thanked and shout out. And I will put my hand up and say, I apologize. Apparently we are offering our official members to pick comics for us to talk about on these episodes. I missed that until I looked at the outline earlier today and it was too late to solicit that. But hopefully in the future, I or some other better prepared host will solicit your input on that. And yeah, we can talk about a comic book that you want us to talk about instead of the silly Batman nonsense that we apparently are heavily into at the moment. Or
It's
maybe
just the right time of year. It's cold, it's dark.
Exactly. Jingle bells, Batman does not smell. His comics are fantastic.
Yeah. Absolute Batman definitely smells.
Well, yeah, that guy, yeah,
He smells for sure.
he's seen some stuff.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, thanks for hanging out with us. And see you next time, you know?
Yeah, thank you so much. And remember, if you're going to geek, do it systematically.